What we're going to do here today is we're going to talk about how to get data out of websites that it may be difficult to get to unless you're an uber geek. And let's start with a fairly common request we hear from people as they say, well, I want to find out who is tweeting a lot about a certain subject, and I want to prepare a report about them. And it's pretty easy to find out, let's say, people who are tweeting a lot about, let's say, South by Southwest. I'm using one of my favorite social search engines here called Topsy, and I'll hit return, and it will search for people tweeting on a topic. And it's possible to access this data and suck it out of Topsy using their API, and that API is well documented here. So if you're pretty geeky and you know how to code, you can get to that data and have it sucked out so that it's in a table. If you're not that geeky, you have some other options. So let's say what I want to do is I want to say, well, gee, who are the experts? And I'm going to click here on the experts option that are tweeting about South by. And what experts really means is who tweets the most. And what it brings up is a listing of all of the top tweeters that I can page through. Now, while there are automated scrapers that can go page by page by page through websites like Topsy, etc., what I'm going to do is just the real simple method that anyone can do when they encounter a table format like this. I want to show you an extension, and let me show you how I got to extensions. Let me bring up a new tab here. Under your window menu in Chrome is the extensions option. And I'm going to search for a new extension that I don't already have installed that captures tables. And that is, search for anything with table in it. And there is the table capture extension. Let's go get it. It finds it. I'm going to add it to Chrome. Yes, go for it. And notice it alerts me as to where I'll be able to access that over in the upper right, this little red icon. That's great. Thank you very much. Now let's go back to our Topsy expert search now that I've installed that plugin, and let's execute this search one more time. Now it's refreshed the page. Notice that it senses a table on the page. I'm going to click the icon and choose to copy that table to the clipboard. Now I can switch into Excel and I can make a new document and I can paste this in. I'm going to do paste special, just plain text so it won't bring in the formatting. And I'll make this a little bigger so that it's easier to see. And I could go, let's go back over to Chrome, and I could do this again and again. And as it switches to the next page, I can then go back up, and I can copy that to the clipboard, and then add that to Excel as well, until I eventually get what I need. Now there are far more superior automated approaches that don't require coding either, but this is by far the easiest and most straightforward for the newbie. So this brings the data into Excel, and it's kind of ready to go, but there's one more trick I want to show you. You may notice that occasionally when you do something like this, you paste stuff into Excel, what it does is it brings in extra spaces within the data. And some websites do this on purpose to try and make what we're trying to do more difficult, but there is a trick. We're going to use in Excel a function called trim, T-R-I-M, left paren, and I'm going to choose that cell, right paren. I'm going to hit return. And what it does is it clones this cell over here without the extra spaces at the beginning or the end. And I can do the same thing in this column, and etc., etc. So the trim function copied and pasted or filled over to the right and down is a handy little technique for cleaning up data that that may be not perfect. Let's do that again. Equals trim. We'll fill that down. So Capturing data off of web pages is easy with the table capture plugin, as long as it is formatted as a table, and you can bring that into Excel and clean it up using the trim function. And with that, happy scraping.